I was that person who thought people who died by suicide were crazy and they ruined their families' lives. I have learned that's not the case. My husband wasn't crazy.
Over an 18-month period, 27 young military veterans died by suicide in San Diego County. Nationally, the average, the VA, I should say, is under incredible pressure to slow the number of suicides by veterans. A commonly cited statistic from the VA research on veterans of all ages is that 22 vets take their lives each and every day. Now, if you didn't have a chance to see the San Diego Union-Tribune on Sunday, I want to call your attention to the cover story there, and the author of that story, Steele, joins us here this morning. Jen, thanks so much. This is a story that it needs to be told, and yet nobody likes to talk about it.
Right, exactly.
What captured your attention here initially? Why did you decide to tackle the really tough subject?
Right. So what launched this report by us is in 2014, Jeremy Sears was a 35-year-old Camp Pendleton veteran who took his life in Oceanside at a gun range. And he was the vet that everybody wants to help. Several deployments to the war zone, came back, got out, couldn't find a job, fell into despair, problems with the VA, and he took his life. So that really got us interested in looking at other cases like his, and so we dove into the medical examiner records here in San Diego County and found these 27 stories.
Were you able to find a common thread amongst these cases?
Right, that was our hope. So we wanted to tell each person's story to personalize the issue, but also to see if there are common threads. Here's what we found. So the majority had PTSD or depression after having deployed to a combat zone, which sort of defies academic research, which says that deployment does not make you more at risk for suicide. So that was quite interesting. We also found that, well, we interviewed a lot of these families. They said they didn't like the long list of drugs that were given to their loved ones by the VA. Also, we found complaints that they felt like the family members felt like they were shut out of their son's or husband's care. They would have liked to have gotten a phone call if the doctor recognized that the person stopped going to therapy.
This is one of the things that struck me as I was reading some of your work here, is that some of the folks that were saying, look, I wasn't really involved. There were so many doctors, so many, quote, experts, in some cases, people being treated for as much as 10 years.
Right.
And the family members said, look, we would have thought that they were receiving good care.
Exactly right. And so of course these folks have regrets and are grieving, but some of them said to me, and it was sort of noticeable to me, they said, I wish I had had more involvement. I wish I would have gone to every meeting, every appointment, because they were expecting their loved one to navigate the VA system, which is, an unwielding bureaucracy. I think
has the VA responded to this article or responded to some of your questions about why are they not doing a better job of helping our veterans?
Right. Well, as a result of our stories about Jeremy Sears' case, the VA Inspector General did an investigation and found out that the local VA did make errors in his care in several different ways. Also, another case we wrote about, Rudy Hewitt hanged himself at the San Diego VA hospital, and they have said that they didn't do something exactly the way they should have with the handoff of his care from one unit to the other. They say there's no magic bullet, but that each of these is a tragedy, and they're trying to improve.
All right, I really want folks to take a look at this, and especially anybody that is dealing with this in their family right now. I want them to know where to go for help right now, right this second, if they're watching. Do they call their VA, or where did you discover was the best place for them to go for help immediately?
In our story, we list 5 or 6 or 10 resources for folks. The VA crisis line is sort of the national center. It's 24 hours. Folks can certainly go there, although there's been some criticism of the way they handled one of these cases. There are several other groups locally and nationally. There's the Iraq-Afghanistan Veterans has a national number. There's a group called TAPS, Tragedy Assistance, for families of service members, and they can help on the front end as well. So there's quite a list in the story.
Well, we'll direct folks to the story. Can they find this online?
Right, find it online, and we'll have some follow-up this weekend.
All right, again, Jen Steele, thank you so much again for tackling this. And folks, let's not let it just sit. Let's continue to push and do something about it. Thank you for giving people a little nudge.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.